Would you accept it?
Do I accept what?
Would you accept that only 40% of the population
of course I do.
that can vote in your state will be the number of people to possibly maybe retain or return your governor back to office?
If that is the situation we found ourselves, what would you have me do?
No,
what would you do?
People would have thought that if that's the case with Ogun State, that your party should have spoken up about it and not say, we'll back INEC, let's go ahead with elections as at that time.
We have been screaming. We have been shouting our heads off and saying that we were not happy about it. But hey, listen, we have an umpire, and that is INEC. And we've thrown it to INEC. INEC, we're not happy. Our governor has been on television complaining bitterly and saying that he was not happy at the situation he's found himself. And that INEC could do better than this. And I'm putting it back to you, and I'm saying, look, listen, if we find that we are not able to improve on that as of March 28th, what would you have us do?
What would you do?
We run with the cards that we are dealt with.
And at the end of the elections, you won't use it as a basis to go to court?
I don't know what we will do at the end of the elections. I will wait until that happens.
Let me take you back to security. That Lake Chad Basin security architecture, I understand the agreement for that period was actually signed in 1998. And that there's been 6 meetings, 7 with the one in France, and that countries around that region had not fulfilled their end of the bargain until lately, where they started sending their own company to the headquarters in Baga, and as such, that's why you saw the situation as bad as it was at that time. Is your party aware of this, and are you putting it in proper perspective while you make the point about the security challenge that the country has?
Chamberlain, I'm not quite sure I get the drift. Are you asking
me?
No,
you started out citing the recent security situation for the last 5 years and why nothing has happened. And then the information we have from the security authorities there is that, look, that agreement wasn't signed recently. It dates back, and if those other countries had contributed a lot, perhaps we would not have been where we are now as part of the issues that are also making the rounds about the security challenge.
Well, let me put something to you. Nigeria is the largest contributor to peacekeeping force in the whole world. Like this country, Nigeria. Nigeria has consistently been looked at as the giant of Africa. And for a long time, the West, the East, has always courted Nigeria to support any armed conflicts anywhere in Africa. That is the information that I have. Now, if it has taken us 5 or 6 years to get those people together to give us support, if indeed we needed it, I felt we could do it alone. I felt we could have done it alone. Now, if it has taken that long for them to get their act together, to say, all right, we're going to draw on this, then I'm very suspicious about the capacity of this government.
There's also something that was said, but I'm not sure they said it as much as many would have thought. And it's the fact that, yes, we may have been the ones contributing troops to certain other countries, but there are countries around us, smaller ones too, who have larger amount of forces than Nigeria does.
Do they have larger amount of forces than Nigeria, Chamberlain?
So
I don't think so. Who is saying so?
That's the thing.
No, look, I think we are taking the capacity of the Nigerian armed forces for granted. My opinion is this. You see, all the hullabaloo about, yeah, we are, recapturing territories here and there. And my simple question is, we know that arms, equipment, and ammunition, and so on, they are not taken off the shelf. They must have been ordered weeks and months ago. We have a huge budget for defense and the armed forces. The key question we should be asking ourselves is, how have they been utilized? Where has it all gone? If we are contributing to the UN, in whatever form, we know that UN pays us back. So it's not as if we are spending our money in those regards. What has gone wrong?
What's your impression about the towns that the military reportedly recaptured from the insurgents now?
Well, I'm very happy. I'm excited that we are standing up to the plate at last. I'm very excited. I'm a patriotic Nigerian. Nigerians are very patriotic people. They want to stand up proud. They want to be able to say, this is Nigeria. We are kicking butts wherever it is. They don't want to go anywhere in the world and the giants of Africa who are lame and you know, and losing territory to a ragtag army.
Well, you also have to put into perspective that there are certain parts of that agreement that also meant that we could not just invade another person's country, and whether or not you call them minnows, you cannot fight terrorism by yourself. No country tries to fight terrorism without the cooperation of neighboring countries, or you know, or even support from anywhere. They don't even have to be neighboring countries. The United States doesn't fight terrorism alone. They're always seeking cooperation. So if we only just got that cooperation now, are we also putting that into perspective?
Malcolm, I can only say this to you, that we have an antecedent, we have a precedence. I remember in the early 80s that when we had these Maitatsini people from neighboring Cameroon, they came into Nigeria, they were driven very far back, straight into Cameroon itself.
We did what was not proper.
If you say so,
somebody else's territory.
We did what was proper for Nigeria. And that's the only perspective I can look at it. When the Chadian rebels came into Nigeria, we drove them as far back, somebody said to me, as far back as Libya. Of course, it was, you know, that was absolute nonsense. But we didn't stand for it. On security issues, there should be zero tolerance. Let me give you one simple example why I feel there should be zero tolerance, and it's all about leadership. I'm sure I have to take you to Ogun State. Prior to Governor Amsoun coming in, there were miscreants, there were cultists, there were armed robbers everywhere, all over the place. When he came in, he bought a lot of APCs, he gave the police equipment, he armed them, he went on zero tolerance level. At a certain point, the banks were not opening, even in Ijebu-Ode, where I come from. But now we had peace. That was his first objective, to ensure that he secured his people, to ensure that people could sleep in their homes. That is what we call leadership. I go for zero tolerance on security. The minute you fail to protect your people, to protect your territory, to stop your people from being maimed, from being raped, from being captured, it is now over 300 days and Chibok girls are not back.
Even if you have to...
What are you going to say about that?
So even if you have to go into another man's territory without his permission...
Did we not go to Liberia? Did we not go to Sierra Leone?
Did we not have permission to go to Liberia and Sierra Leone?
Did we have?
So did we have permission to go into Chad and Niger Republic or Cameroon?
Look,
is that what you would have wanted Nigeria to do?
Listen, what I would say is
against international conventions?
If Chad allows foreign insurgents to come into this country and do not act on it, we have the right to protect ourselves. We will go into Chad and get rid of those people. That's what I will vote for.
But how would you then get their cooperation to secure the borders? Because if these insurgents spill into the borders and camp within those territories, you need the cooperation of Chad, Niger, Cameroon. You need all of this. So
but
if
you yourself say, for example, that we have cooperative agreements and so on.
That agreement exists, and they've only started responding.
Why didn't we activate it?
They did.
Why
but
would they now object if we say we have foreign people on your territory? If we say to them, look, people are coming from your territory and invading us. If you don't take action, we as a country, as Nigeria, the so-called giant of Africa, we will take action. That's what I will do. That's what a strong country should do. Protect its people. That's my own opinion.
I hope you don't mind. Let me just take you back a bit. You said something earlier about Nigeria being the highest contributor to peacekeeping around the world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In Africa, pardon me.
In Africa?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
How much percentage of PVC distribution will be okay for you by INEC for us to proceed with the elections? Or to give them, say, a pass mark, not to proceed?
All I can say is that no election is perfect. All I can say is that, for example, you ask me again, you should ask me again, how many members of the armed forces would we need? In case after 6 weeks we are not able to solve the problem of the Northeast, how many would we need? We're looking for optimum levels. I don't know. What I do know is that...
I've not asked that yet.
I'm drawing a parallel here, Chamberlain. I'm drawing a parallel. What I am saying is this. We have an umpire. He has been working very hard during the last 4 years towards this election. He has said to us that, all right, this is as far as I have done. we're going to carry on with this election. And I cannot say to him, oh, it has to be a benchmark of, say, 60% or 70% or 80%. When he says, yeah, we're happy with this, we're ready to go, we are ready to back him. That's all.
Your party, finally, before we go, your party says, I read it top up, that they will generate, I think I even did ask another member here some time ago,
yes,
that they'll generate 40,000 megawatts of electricity in 4 years.
Yes.
Can you do that, and how?
Well, let me put it to you this way. Let me give you 3 instances. Let me talk about Chad first of all. Chad requires about 40 megawatts of electricity. That's Chad, just 40 megawatts to run that country. Nigeria requires, well, South Africa currently runs about 40,000 megawatts. We are on 4,000 megawatts, and we think by any projections we should be from anything from about 30 to 40,000 megawatts. That's what we require. I cannot say that you know, this is what we'll do within 4 years. One thing I know, we're going to get better than 4,000. We certainly hope we'll get more than 10,000. And that is, you know, the way we're going to do it in a in a progressive manner that ensures that our people are able to have power, because without it, we're not going to grow.
Well, back to the question we started with. How?
Well, let me put it, you know, first you have to get into government. Do you understand? In my opinion, we're already assessing the situation we have on ground. And we believe that the investment that has gone into power, something like $33 billion, a lot of it has gone to waste. And we, as I said to you, the platform upon which we are going to work is the issue of corruption. We're going to try and reduce that to a large extent, ensure that leakages and drainages and wastages are reduced to a large extent, and that the 80% also that we use on current, recurrent expenditure to a large extent is reduced. Therefore, we have enough funds to be able to use to invest in those various sectors.
All right, Otunba Seyi Oduntan is a former aspirant for Senate in Ogun East, and now is the Vice Chairman of Media and Publicity for Senator Ibikunle Amsoun campaign organization. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
We'll return in just a moment. Don't go away.